Welcome back to eedrummer. Thanks for joining me as I continue my speed and control work. In my last video, my focus was on flams. Today, I will show my work on paradiddles using a push-pull based exercise from Drum Beats Online. Before getting into this, however, you may have noticed I have a nice new sling. I had shoulder surgery several weeks ago. This means I won't be able to play with my left hand for a few months. I will, however, be able to get out of this sling very soon, so subsequent videos I won't have any extra items on my arm, but I won't be able to do much with it either. During this time, I will focus more on my feet. Consider that a teaser for future videos. For today's video, I'm working on Drum Beats Online's push-pull speed video. A link to his video is in the description below. I typically use Moeller technique when I'm doing speed work, so I was interested in trying push-pull work, and I also want to work on more rudiments such as paradiddles. So it's important with paradiddles to keep consistent spacing between the singles and the doubles, as this gets difficult as you increase the speed. This exercise has 4 parts. Part 1 is push-pull. This is just focusing on the basics of the technique. Part 2 is a control exercise using dynamics and bounces and singles to focus on getting consistent bounces and even the spacing between bounces and singles. Part 3 introduces the paradiddle. Now we're applying the push-pull technique on single paradiddles, double paradiddles, triple paradiddles, as well as paradiddle diddles. The last part, part 4, is a muscle and endurance building exercise where you go as fast as you can in bursts, giving yourself rest. So you're on for about 20 seconds, off for 10. I've broken this video into progressions over time for each one of these 4 exercises. Each snapshot is approximately 1 month apart, with exceptions when noted. Most of the time is spent on the practice pad, but I did end on snare this time. As you watch the video, pay extra attention to the space between the bounces on the paradiddles. The goal is to have the same space between the bounces as there is between the singles. Also, note my shoulders. You'll notice they are very stiff when I start the exercise, but they start to relax as time moves on. When I first started these exercises, I was free with the tempo, allowing myself to increase and decrease it as I felt necessary. This allowed me to focus more on the finger technique. Later on, I'd get more regimented with the tempo. this point, at a suggestion from one of my instructors, I started using a metronome for these exercises. At first, this actually made my strokes less evenly spaced while I adjusted to using the metronome, but I got used to this over time and things cleaned up. At this point, I noticed I wasn't quite getting the spacing right between my doubles and my singles. So in order to fix this, I actually backed off the tempo. Around this time, I also switched from the practice pad to the snare. As you may have noticed in this last video, there were two changes based on switching to the snare from the practice pad. Number one, as the snare has a less succinct sound than a practice pad, it can actually cover up some of the unevenness in your strokes as you speed up. However, as the snare also doesn't bounce as well as a practice pad, your doubles won't be spaced quite the same as they were before. So the two kind of offset each other. And this is something I'll continue to work on with this exercise going forward. Obviously, there's more work for me to do, but I believe you got a good example of progression over time with this. In the next video in this series, I will continue my speed and control work using a common 16th and 32nd note exercise most players are already familiar with, the Digga-Digga-Burr. I hope you found this video helpful. Again, if you have any suggestions for format or content, please leave them in a comment below. Thanks for watching. I wish you luck in your journey. See you next time.